Hollywood is a place where they'll pay you $1,000 for a kiss and 50 cents for your soul.
Hello and welcome to the show. Colourful conversations with Clergyman Pete and Businessman Mark. This week we debate Hollywood harassment horrors. But once again, we've seen in the news more horrors coming from Hollywood. Well, this time, Michael Douglas has described how he believes that he has been a victim of more issues about perhaps overinflated accusations of Hollywood horrors, sexual scandals, etc. But unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. In this particular piece of news, there's another sexual harassment where it is believed that the author and journalist Susan Braudy said that Douglas's actual actions during the 1980s perhaps left her feeling somewhat humiliated. Who's right? Who's wrong? Who is it that's giving the horrific story? And who's behind all of this? What on earth is going on in Hollywood? It is getting worse. Clergyman Pete, what on earth needs to be done with Hollywood to build back its credibility?
Well, Businessman Mark, my first answer to that is one that I think is the simplest, and I think it's absolutely true, and that is we don't need them. It doesn't need to be built up. We don't need Hollywood. Let it go. Time to move on. There was a time when movies were made, when movie business started up all over the world, and Hollywood, through the success of its great movies and some great storytelling over the years, built itself up into a big industry. Let them go, deady buys, bye. I mean, not the people, the businesses, and let's. It seems that it's going that way anyway in terms of cinema with the move to online entertainment, such as the Mark and Pete show. So that's one answer. The second answer, if I did want them to regain their credibility, the only way that I see to it is for them to start by stopping any sort of moral posturing and preening and telling other people what to do, and just admit that they're just normal, fallible people who happen to either be attractive or good actors, good directors, whatever it is, and stop pretending that they're more than that. Get on with what they're paid to do, which is just to be, like a performing monkey.
Well, I must admit, you mentioned the word about storytelling here. Now, there's something sinister going on. Who is it that's telling the truth? Now, I mentioned about the news about Michael Douglas. He claims that the Hollywood star who responded in the media saying this is a complete lie, a fabrication, no truth in it whatsoever. However, of course, what is going on here? We're talking about stories that are basically about incidents that have occurred decades ago. Now, maybe the culture of Hollywood is such that it's managed to quash some of these horrendous acts, and actually, perhaps some innocent people have been victims, and perhaps now is the time that they're coming out, and this is the chance to air their side of the story. And of course, Michael Douglas isn't just the only one. We've seen issues in the market recently about Kevin Spacey. Even Woody Allen has been sort of embroiled in the saga, and many others, of course. Now, I'm just a little bit concerned here about what needs to be done. Because whilst I think that clearly some incidents may be pursued with specific individuals, it's probably the culture of Hollywood that seems to have gone wrong. Now, of course, I do also have a thought here that perhaps Hollywood not only needs to take a stance around how it deals with these things, but what does it do going forward? I mean, is it a case of now that they've got to change people who are in charge? Is it just simply a case that actors need to have a better method of airing their concerns when incidents occur? I mean, really what I want to try to get to here is what does Hollywood do to build credibility? It seems that many actresses, and we saw this with the Golden Globes recently, where actresses all wore black as a stand against some of these issues about the rights for women and who allegedly had been victims. But is this now getting just a little bit sort of nasty? I think, do you not think there's an element of nastiness about all of this?
Well, there is nastiness in that unsubstantiated claims from many years ago could easily be fabricated in order to get back at you. Now, get back at your employer, in this case, the accuser, Michael Douglas, was fired by him. And it could just as easily be that she saw the signs of the times and realised she could get back at him. Now, or she could be telling the truth. But really, the problem with the nature of Hollywood, the entertainment industry in general, is that there are large rewards offered, at least currently, because of the amount, the fame and the money that they can offer you.
Yeah.
And certain people are gatekeepers to that, and obviously there's such a position of power that they're able to take advantage. As Michael Douglas was a very influential figure back in the 80s when these things happened, was a big star and an influential one. But so he wasn't just a star. He was a part of the establishment of Hollywood. So
exactly.
He was in a position to do that, and I don't see particularly. I don't see a particular really move to do it right. Let me just to give you an example. If you take a different industry, you could pick anyone actually. Say the banking industry, any industry. There are rules in place whereby you're not allowed to behave in a certain way. You can't demean people. Sexual harassment, you'll be done for at the very swiftly. You have a good HR department. It will be dealt with. So other industries, it's not like this. Things have changed where there were sexist attitudes in place. These have been addressed, but in Hollywood, there was not even an attempt to do it. Really, let's just look at what happened. Let's look at what you mentioned. A way of dealing with so women wore black in order to show that they were standing against sexual harassment. So let me say, they went to an awards dinner wearing a little black dress, something they probably would have worn anyway, and wear very, skimpy, revealing dresses in order to. How is that a thing? How could that possibly be standing against it? I'm going to wear a short black dress revealing ample cleavage is a way of demonstrating against sexual harassment. I don't think so, and so they're not taking it seriously. It's all show.
Well, maybe it's a lame effort. Maybe that tactic.
Well, no, I think it
wasn't really very, very well thought through. But I think what they were trying to do is find a way of airing their.
I don't believe it. No, I don't buy it for 1 second. You had this was the Golden Globe, isn't it? Where we had a series of rather self-serving speeches. For example, Oprah Winfrey. Now she famously did this speech. People were saying, "Oh, this is her, going to go for a presidential run when the U.S. presidential election comes around again." I don't know if she's really going to do that, but that was such ridiculous positioning of her. Someone, immediately people put up pictures of her canoodling with Harvey Weinstein. She is part of the problem. She has obviously not done anything about it for many years because she's made a lot of money out of these people who've been abused. You can look at the other actors and actresses who made these self-aggrandizing speeches. Me too, they say. Yet you two didn't speak up, and so put other, in this case these are all women, but other women in danger because you didn't speak up. Why didn't you speak up? Because of your career making lots of money and getting famous. You thought it was worth it. So what they want to do is zip up, keep the mouths shut, don't make these moralistic speeches, and let the actual victims of such crimes be dealt with by the police. And what we can do is stop going to see these stupid films that they make and go and see some good entertainment instead. Well, instead of going to Hollywood films, most of them are rubbish anyway.
Well, now, with that in mind, I just thought that because we've got the Oscars coming up, I just thought actually they're missing a trick here. I just thought, well, perhaps they have various categories, of course, as you know, from Best Actor, Best
Yes.
Actress, and
Yes.
Director, and so on. And I just thought, well, because of what's been going on, maybe here's a little thought with, again, our customary little poem. Here we go. You'll see where we're going on this one. And this is almost coming from perhaps a few nominees, a collective, that is. Once my name was wildly praised, and people stood in awe, amazed. My shining career soon trailblazed, as fans were wild and truly crazed. Then one false accusation, rudely raised, rendered audiences completely dazed. And today my ego is bruised and grazed, as my Hollywood star has been erased. So what if we have the category of the erased Hollywood star?
Yes. Yes. Well, I think in doing,
I think it'd be very popular.
Yeah, you'd have to have different awards for different levels of harassment. Yes, I think that would work very well.
I think it goes down very well, and Hollywood, I would be more than welcome. I will not take any percentage.
Yes, I think Michael Douglas is possibly in line for that one. Yes.
Well, I think there are many other actors and actresses that could possibly come up on.
So, just in conclusion, just to try and draw a conclusion from this, I think look, the way that Hollywood needs to address this is actually at a deeper level, and it's the individuals involved at all levels. There needs to be a spiritual revival of people involved in such activities.
I was going to say the spiritual revival. Just hold that thought.
I'm holding on
lead into what you're going to say, because I want to come back to the Douglas thing. Because the lady Braudy who was mentioning about Douglas said the following. She said she told the Hollywood Reporter she was not surprised by what Douglas had issued his denial, but she claimed that the manner in which he did so was part of the problem, as is the pretext of victimization. But this is the bit that she said, which leads into what you're hopefully going to mention, which is she added, there are some reasons why so many women don't come forward with their stories. Lord knows it's taken 30 years and a movement for me to gather my courage. Well, Lord, what is it that we should be doing here? Because clearly there's a moral stance that seems to have taken here. So, Clergyman Pete, I'd just like to sort of get your thoughts here from a moralistic and a religious point of view. What should we be saying to people here about Hollywood and what we're seeing unfolding in the media?
Well, look, the thing is that this is part of a deeper and wider problem. There's two things we've got to say. First, people need to have integrity. It's very important that people take responsibility for their own actions. This is people who are pretending to be victims of harassment and those who've committed it. There needs to be real admission of guilt and also a real acknowledgement that other people are weak, so that you're not going after people unnecessarily. There needs to be actual integrity. Proverbs 11 verse 3, the integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity. Michael Douglas, are you listening? And maybe those accusing him as well. Just one, of course, at the moment, accusing him. But you know, there's a sort of safeguard that has been in place for many years, which stops these problems of deciding about whether any sexual activity is consensual. And it's got a special name. We call it marriage. Ephesians 5:25. For husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church. Marriage is so central to the Christian faith because it's central to the way that society is meant to be built up. If we insisted that people were married, and if the cultural expectation were the real expectations of a marriage being faithful and together with one person for life, such that there was shame associated with any sexual activity outside of it, we'd getting back to a good bit of the past. There were bad things in the past. This was a good attitude of the past, that marriage was for life, and this protects especially women. The sexual revolution, which was so popular in the 60s and is lauded these days, was a disaster for women and led to the problems in Hollywood, but also more widely in culture of sexual impropriety at all levels, because you don't know which sexual act is consensual or not. Well, look, the only way to really control this is to have sex for just being in a permanent committed relationship and not elsewhere. That's the only way to do it. So return to these standards and holding people to integrity, to standards of integrity, would help. But it has to come from the individual's hearts, which need to be changed, which need to be brought spiritually alive to see that they need to take responsibility. Imagine if Michael Douglas had made sure that he was always pure, that he married once and then that was it, and he never spent time alone with other women aside from his wife. He was in public if he was with other women. Imagine if he did, in other words, like Mike Pence does, the vice president of the US. Imagine if he was a Christian, as Mike Pence was, and made sure that he did that. There's no way anyone could bring an accusation against him. The integrity would have kept him safe. That's the answer. Don't do it and make it obvious that you're not.
Well, indeed. Now, listeners, what do you think about this? We should readdress the balance. And just to conclude here, I know we talked about Michael Douglas, and there are many others, but Michael Douglas did issue this other statement. It says, I don't have skeletons in my closet or anyone else who's coming out or saying this. I am bewildered why, after 32 years, this is coming out now. A fair point, but again, you may have a different view. What do you think, listeners? Why not let us know? Log on to markandpete.com and let us know your thoughts about this controversial subject. I'm sure more will come out. And yes, Hollywood, we've given you a few suggestions as to how you can improve your ways.
Yeah.
Yes, and I certainly look forward to the new category. But there we go. Erased stars or not. So thank you for joining us this week. Join us again next time for more colourful conversations with Mark and Pete.